July 13th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, approval of meeting agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as written.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Clerk Rhodes, supported by Trustee Rosio. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Moving on, item 4, approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes listed A through G. I'm sorry. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of June 1st, 2026, June 9th of 2026, June 29th of 2026, and July 8th of 2026.
Is there support for the motion?
Second.
I have a second by Trustee Marino. I have a motion made by Trustee Rosio, seconded by Trustee Marino. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Public announcements. All right, moving on, public comment. If you can, if you are here to make public comment, go to the podium there. There is a 3-minute limit. There you go.
How about now? Oh, there we go. Hi, everyone. My name is Andy Lewicki. I'm the Assistant Business Manager for IBW Local 58. First, I'd like to thank the board for your willingness to serve the community in this difficult environment. I've witnessed the tension created by some community members, the recall efforts, and understand there's been a resignation due to personal threats. Your job is not easy. I commend you for your continued effort to listen to the people, disseminate between the facts, fiction, and make educated decisions for the benefits of this area. As I said, I'm the Assistant Business Manager for IBW Local 58, and we represent over 5,000 electrical workers across southeastern Michigan. Hundreds of our members live in this county. Many live in this township. I believe in fighting for good paying jobs that offer health care, coverage, and retirement. Most of you probably know demand for electricity is rising at an unprecedented rate. I'm old enough to remember the introduction of new technology like Technicolor, so TV shows could be viewed in color instead of black and white. The introduction of cordless tools, microwave ovens, and the like, as kitchen appliances. Today's new appliances are more cost efficient, and there are many more choices for consumers. Cell phones, cloud-based storage, AI, EVs, data centers, all increase the load on our utility grid. I've even seen refrigerators with built-in TVs. All of these increase the demand on our existing power grid. I drove to work today using Google Maps. My pay was deposited electronically. I ordered lunch with DoorDash. I can see the stock market in real time. If you have done this or streamed a movie, listened to a podcast, played an online video game, or paid a bill with your phone, you are using a data center. I don't remember the last time I even had to walk into a damn bank. I don't remember, or rather, we have FaceTime and wristwatches that can be used to have phone conversations or to monitor your sleep patterns or heart rhythms. The sci-fi of days past is reality today. Data centers make this possible, and it's relevant because all these things require more electricity. With or without data centers, the demand for electricity is always trending higher. We must understand there is ever-increasing use of electrical gadgets. How can we expect a grid that was designed 80 years ago to sustain this increased load without major improvements? And we all have to share in the costs of these increased upgrades to our utility grid, unless something else out there can pay for it. Michigan currently has 58 data centers located throughout the state. Michigan also has guardrails in place to make sure data centers do not pass the cost of grid expansion to consumers, people like you and me. I certainly don't want to pay for it, neither should you. I have been to township meetings where citizens feared this technological change. Remember, there was a time when the automobile was shunned in favor of the horse and buggy. Believe it or not, in New York City, it took mountains of horse crap to finally convince them that they should switch over to this new modern technology. At every township meeting, there's someone claiming that a data center would drain all of our wells, make property values plummet.
Before my time begins, I have a procedural request that is not a public comment. I have attached for you a motion. Good evening. What I am saying this evening needs to be read into the meeting minutes for July 13, 2026. Point of clarification before you start my time allotted to speak. My name is Jennifer Pogierski, and I reside in the Quail Run Manufactured Home Community. I have a quick procedural request. The matter I am addressing tonight involves complex information and data that cannot be fully covered within the standard 3-minute time frame. Out of respect for the board's time and the importance of this issue, I respectfully ask that the board to suspend the rules tonight and grant me an additional 6 minutes to complete my statement. I would greatly appreciate if a member of the board be willing to move to suspend the rules for this extension so I can present the information to you in full. You do have a motion in front of you on the front of your packets.
Everyone has 3 minutes.
She's got some.
I'd like 6 minutes for everybody.
Granted or not granted?
Granted.
Okay, going to continue. I have packets for all of you to refer to regarding the natural drains, creeks, and rivers in the proposed I-94 district. If you actually open up your package and pay attention, it's now labeled number 1. All the natural drains, creeks, and river affect not just this proposed area, but, and not limited to, several counties and cities. There are 14 cities that I found in 2 different counties right now, including St. Clair. Cities are Mount Clemens, Warren, East Point, Fraser, Village of New Haven, Sterling Heights, Utica, Chesterfield, Clinton Township, Harrison, Lenox, Macomb Township, Shelby Township, and Washington Township. That will be referred to in section 3. These cannot just be bulldozed over. There are environmental restrictions that are in place both locally and federally. Sections 2, 8, and 9. Many companies and governmental agencies, such as the Clean Water Act, the Great Lakes Water Authority, Macomb Public Works Commission, Macomb County Interceptor Drainage District, and Eagle, all need to be brought in before the proposed area can be changed from agricultural. Sections 1, 2, and 3. Lennox Township is a participating member of all these organizations.
Thank you, the 3 minutes is up.
Nope, it's not. You cannot take away my
No,
freedom of
ma'am, your
speech.
3 minutes has expired. You started, why don't you start to speak?
See ya.
Lennox Township bylaws are not posted on the page. Therefore, you cannot say I'm violating any rules or regulations. A policy falls below a
Ma'am, your 3
bylaw.
minutes has expired.
That's too bad.
We'll just pass it back and read it, and then you guys think you're getting out of it? Why do you think there's such a long line?
Andrea McCabe, Frost Road, here to continue. Lennox Township is a participating member of all of these organizations. There are setback requirements 50 to 100 feet, and sometimes depending on if any of the off-drains, creeks, or river fall under federal jurisdiction, a 500-foot setback is required. Dumping chemicals into these natural drains, creeks, and river is illegal. Referring to section 6, 5, and 10. When the lines are bled from a closed-loop water system, those chemicals are considered hazardous waste. Please see section 7. So, the bottom line is, natural drains, creeks, and the rivers in the Lenox Township are a part of a protected watershed system. You cannot simply build over them or dump chemicals into them. Just to further this, there is already a settled federal lawsuit regarding Amazon and data center cooling process into the wastewater and local wells, causing major health issues.
And you can see at the back of your page that there is also that. And I do have a motion for the board.
Here's the motion we are requesting the board make today regarding the proposed I-94 district. The motion is, based on the information presented in this evening, a 12-month moratorium on the proposed I-94 district be put into place due to the multiple cities, counties, and water development organizations that need to be involved for further local, county, and possible federal guidelines that need to be considered for this area.
My name is Justin Dolan. I'm a former police officer for Oxford Village. I'm a former data center technician, and currently I work in IT governance overseeing a large corporation's own data center migration. I am an expert in data center technologies. I'm a white-collar, college-educated Democrat that is working alongside Republicans, Democrats, lawyers, doctors, everybody under the sun. And it's not just members in this community. It's across the state. And it's not just across the state, it's across this nation. We are motivated, we are pissed. Last week I exchanged expertise with working strategies between Texas and Georgia and Michigan. Right now, this is not a partisan issue. It's a class disparity made manifest via data center. For months, I've offered you all free consult of tangible technologies that can not only make the good ROI for the township, for the data center, but also for the community, so everybody wins. Yet you continue to ignore me. So, clearly, that dialogue's been ignored. We are told there are no plans. All of this after we found communications where you guys are under duress legally by the developer to keep quiet and keep going. So, that is your motivator. Legal, fiscal, allow me to speak your language. Anthony Reeder, I'm coming for you. I am going to bury the data center, and I'm going to fiscally bury any businesses that you guys have as compensation for the damage that you've done to this community. I place passive sensors across this township to get pre-build readings so that I have enough momentum to bury you guys. Now, allow me to introduce you a parade of horribles. The next 5 speakers are going to go over all the things that you guys are skipping that causes actual detriment from an expert's opinion. That if you guys pass this and you continue to ignore the community, you will cost you. You might kill people. You're going to cost all of our families investment. To the people who are here today and listening online, thank you. We need your help. You are not just the people in this community. It is a national movement. Please help us. The only thing it takes for evil to succeed is for good people to do nothing. help us. Thank you, everybody.
I'm here to read off as part of Justin's reports. Let's talk about pollution. First, we need some context. The company building the Saline Township data center brags on its website that their 1.4 gigawatt data center will be the largest in the United States. That building is 250 acres big and is sitting on a 1,000-acre plot. The Lenox Township data center is 1,500 acres. So how big will this data center be? We don't know because they won't say. To add another point of context, 2 weeks ago, DTE cut power to Detroit residents because it couldn't meet the demands during the heat wave. So it's clear that whatever is being built here could easily rival Saline's data center and will need to provide its own power, especially during peak hours because DTE can't. Please wave at the two DTE representatives in the back. Justin will point them out to you. Somewhere.
Sorry, I couldn't find that name, but they're here.
But wait! Experts like Justin know that there's two-year back order of diesel generators for hyperscale data centers. So why is this project not paused? Simple. Nearby, the rezoning district in the A&R is the A&R natural gas pipeline and is filled with plenty of reserves. And looking at the largest industrial natural gas generators, there are tons available to purchase. Data center the size and scale of Saline's would require 450 Caterpillar large 3.1 megawatt gas generators to supply its own power during peak hours. This is assuming DTE doesn't mimic what's happened in Utah, where their power company said that they'll stop supplying customers power to residents to prioritize the data center. Each of these gas generators emits nitrogen oxide, carbon monoxide, and CO2 in the air and produces 120 decibels of exhaust and fan sound. Michigan is the third highest state for nitrogen oxide pollution. Nitrogen oxide causes heart diseases, lung diseases, and cancer. The most at risk are children and the elderly. Are we protected? Well, the EPA's last updated gas generator regulations were in 2006. Currently, much of the federal regulations are being loosened, and Executive Order 14318 expressly deprioritizes regulations in favor of allowing accelerated data center build-outs. Is this really an issue? Yes. Current lawsuits are ongoing regarding XAI's gas generators in Tennessee, where neighboring communities are complaining of high levels of pollution carrying over into their township and has impacted their health. So what can we expect in Lenox? Senior living facilities will see an increase in mortality. Children going to nearby schools will have lower lifespans and will experience lower quality of life starting in their middle age. Those who can afford to move away will. Those who can't will die younger.
I'm here to talk about the fire hazards to do with hyperscale data centers. This is testimony from a fire chief in Texas. From Gary Oldman in Round Rock, Texas. Gary is a graduate of the Executive Development Program at the National Fire Academy. He's a fire chief and an architect of the incident command system that has been adapted globally. Gary has gone on record stating data centers present an immense and hazardous fire risk, and is able to cite studies from both UC Berkeley and George Washington University. In 2024, the SCBI data center in Texas experienced a fire that caused $11 million in damages. Smoke from that fire carried carcinogens, heavy metals, and other toxins into adjacent residential neighborhoods. Water from the fire suppression efforts carried those same toxins into a storm drain and into creeks. All the firefighters who worked at that incident were also exposed to those deadly chemicals. Those chemicals that they'll carry are a ticking time bomb inside of them for the rest of their lives. That fire took 5 hours to extinguish. 5 hours. 14 pieces of fire apparatus, including a specialized hazmat suit, and 44 firefighters were needed to control that fire. Don't be fooled by the industry telling you that data center fires are rare. A single Amazon data center in a small city in Ohio had more than 80 fires since 2021. One of these fires took 30 hours to extinguish. Don't be fooled by a data center claiming they'll build and staff their own fire station. That's just an attempt to hide the occurrence of fires. So is Lenox Township prepared to fight in an incident of this scale? Damage to the ecology and community downwind and downstream must be a proactive measure, not a reactive one. Yet this board is pushing forward full speed ahead and under duress by lawsuits from developers. Speed ensures expansive safeguards are bypassed and regulations will be cookie-cutter and the bare minimum. What happens when this township doesn't take action to responsibly mitigate the consequences downwind and downstream? I'd also like to note that the proposed data center is going to be right next to New Haven Elementary. So when you support this data center, I want you to think of a fire going off and all those carcinogens going into our children's lungs.
Right.
Thank you.
Laura Gibson, Lenox, Michigan. I'm going to talk about the water. Let's talk about water. Most of the issues with water have to do with noise, and this parade needs a palate cleanser, so let's talk water usage and water pollution. Contrary to what is on the news, data centers use substantially less water compared to cities and existing industries already use. Passive water cooling is actually very clean and easily regulated. In fact, most of the news you see about this topic are sensationalized. Multiple large-scale third-party investigations and studies that find unless you are under hydrological budgets, this isn't much of a concern. So for us, with the Great Lakes, we are actually fine in terms of water. However, this board does not have all the facts, and there are existing technologies that prove more efficient cooling than water cooling. Breakthrough techniques and technology in geothermal cooling is currently in use across the United States. Specific examples in Texas and Florida use almost no water, requires astronomically less power, and eliminates the largest noise contributors to the data center that produced during industrial scale water cooling. However, this board is quietly being threatened by developers to quickly pass ordinances, regulations, and are also actively ignoring subject experts. So any ideas you may have or any benefit, so any ideas you may have or benefits to the community will never come to pass. Instead, we will have to listen to extremely loud industrial scale water cooling in addition to those natural gas powered turbines. In addition, any concern you want to have answers about water quality or future water bill increase will be ignored by the people sitting in front of you because they don't want to get sued. Please make sure to thank this board for their diligence and respect, representing the best possible outcome from this deal.
All right, we're going to talk about electrical utilization. We've already established that the acreage proposal on the I-94 rezoning proposal is 50% larger than Salines data center. So it's viable to use that as a comparison since the township doesn't want to disclose additional information to us. So let's put it in perspective on just how much power a 1.4 gigawatt data center will consume. Imagine every resident in Detroit bought a kitchen stove, drove it to Lenox, hooked them all up side by side in an enclosed building, then set their ovens to bake at 350 with the oven doors left open, and then went back home, leaving 600,000 plus ovens baking 24/7. That's how much electricity and heat would be roughly generated in a data center of that size. Remember, ours is bigger. We think, we don't know, they aren't telling us. Now, imagine all the fans and air conditioners needed to help keep that room a comfy 70 degrees. This is a somewhat accurate representation of the amount of energy a data center requires to operate. If DTE can't, as you heard earlier, DTE cut off power to a bunch of people in Detroit. Detroit because they couldn't handle it. If they can't power to cool the city of Detroit during a 90-degree day, do you think they'll keep residents with power on the hottest day with a building full of ovens to worry about? What happens to us after the next heat wave and DTE doesn't have the power? They can do one of two things. They could do what Utah Power Company did and tell the community that the data center is priority and cut off the power to the surrounding residents. Alternatively, if the data center uses its own auxiliary power via natural gas generators, it blankets the town in carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxide exhaust, then DTE can be the good old boys they are and just keep the power on for us. Do you think this board is thinking about these issues? Do you think they even care? Their silence is either incompetence, ignorance, or gluttony, but it kind of says it all. Regardless, it makes me question if they're even fit to represent us in the office.
Yeah.
New Haven resident. I'm going to end our parade of horrors with noise. After speaking with communities across the nation, we have compiled the most likely scenario our own community will face. These high-resource facilities use high amounts of resources. Resources are consumed, converted into data and waste, and dissipate via heat, noise, and pollution into our surrounding communities. To manage this, data centers rely on a staggering number of fans and turbines. Millions of small 80 decibel turbines move heat off of computer chips and into the facility water pipes. Then covering the entire 250-acre roof, thousands of massive 120 decibel fans pull that heat out of the building and blast it into the surrounding air. Simultaneously, natural gas generators combust fuel into a continuous symphony of explosions using even more fans to push pollutants up and out into our community. Each fan used, each process produces accumulating sound and vibration, building on each other like a musical orchestra. Certain frequencies resonate, causing small sound waves to build into an acoustic tsunami. Just like when building massive waves over open water, these sound waves travel farther and hit harder, except there are no seawalls capable of blocking tsunamis of sound of 800 miles per mph in all directions that then bounce around and also penetrate through all surfaces. Houses will hum, the air itself will hum. Late night, your house, your bed, everything around you will vibrate. Because a crisis like this is unprecedented, extensive studies on long-term impacts of low-frequency vibrations are limited. We do not yet know the full scope of the biological and mental health toll it takes on people, but the data we do have shown exactly what you would expect. Shaking a human body continuously forever causes severe health problems. It disrupts sleep, and chronic sleep deprivations cascades into a host of other medical issues. There is hope. There are solutions replacing noisy natural gas generators with silent industrial batteries during peak hours. Furthermore, geothermal cooling eliminates the need for massive fans on rooftops to evaporate heat by sending the heat safely underground. Does this board even know these options exist? Are they considering them for our ordinances or regularly requirements? No. There's absolutely no mention of them in the planning meetings or FOIA requested documents. They are giving developers free rein to do whatever is most profitable and convenient for them. As a result, they will be directly responsible for killing our elderly and poisoning our children. They are allowing this to happen while telling us this is a good thing, claiming we should be grateful because they can finally build roads and improve our schools with the revenue from a project that will never come. Recall you all.
Daniel Kirkhope, New Haven resident. I'm going to be talking about 10 Bravo, I-94 Development District. This is not the time for blame. Perhaps the supervisor's office and your board and the planning commission all got to this point through nothing but the best of intentions. Perhaps you all thought this district was the will of the people. Perhaps you all thought that you sufficiently spread the word about the master plan and thought that you had received ample input from the community, all 4 responses. Perhaps the supervisor's office was sole division of a travel center and hotels and restaurants and career supporting factory jobs in this new district when they first entertained the idea. Perhaps they were hoodwinked when the vision shifted to that of a data center. Perhaps planning, likewise, had visions of being the heroes of the community, bringing in development which would put Lenox on the map. Well, perhaps they were right about that last part. But what's for certain is that after the last 6 months or so, this community has expressed itself in crystal clear fashion, as documented in meeting minutes after meeting minutes, YouTube video after YouTube video, social media post after social media post, and yard sign after yard sign. We do not want this district. You know that? I know that. It's very well documented. Now is the time to fix things, reverse course, reopen the master plan. You have plenty of justification to do so. Re-implement a data center moratorium. And do not pass this ordinance. By all means, I encourage you to pour ample resources into the high resource demand facility ordinance that you guys are considering, item 10C on your agenda tonight, as requested by planning. And by all means, re-examine your zoning and your land use ordinances to ensure the greatest protections reasonably allowed by law are in place to protect your residents from harmful effects of data centers. There are alternative common sense measures that can be taken to safeguard your residents while ensuring compliance with the Zoning and Enabling Act of this state. The ordinance you'll be presenting tonight is not one of those common sense measures. You work for the residents of this community. We elected you, we trusted you. We all stand by you, or we will all stand by you if you stand by us. You do not work for Paul Reschke. You do not work for Andary Law. You do not work for Lenox and Chesterfield Economic Development Alliance, LLC. Your duty is not to preemptively roll out the red carpet for them and their visions of a large-scale data center campus on 1,500 acres of most agricultural land that is in close proximity to thousands of Lenox and New Haven residents. The residents here tonight, myself included, will stand by you if you stand by us. I urge you, do not pass this ordinance. My name is Daniel Van de Kerkhoff. I'm the president of Citizens for Better Macomb County, a local registered nonprofit organization that has been around for over a decade, serving the residents of Macomb County. Our organization will be in touch with you soon. We look forward to cooperative dialogue with your leadership, just as you have offered to Mr. Reschke's companions up to this point. We hope to sit with you at the table in a constructive manner to discuss and consider the best options going forward. Thank you.
Press the button on the base.
Hello, I'm just here as a concerned resident. I want to thank the board for just taking the time to listen to all our concerns and follow the rules and the laws to support the residents. But first and foremost, I believe that having a data center, this isn't just a building, it's an investment in our tax base. That means real money for our schools, our roads, and our public services for the years to come. So I hope that everybody can come together and remember that there's another side to the story.
She gets her 3 minutes.
She's a 125.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, the last board meeting that I went to the planning commission, and that we are supposed to state our name and where we are from. And you guys are not following the rules. And I am Denise, and I'm from Lenox Township. So they need to speak where they're from. That is being respectful to us if you're listening to us. Agreed.
Good evening, members of the board. I wanted to step up tonight.
Where are you from?
Thank you.
You guys need to enforce this.
Where are you from?
Name and address, that's the rules.
Let him speak. I wanted to step up tonight
actually had discussions with our attorney on this one in
Oh
the
my
past. We cannot require David address. We can ask for it, but we cannot require it.
Most people overlook the fact that a township board's role is to dictate what businesses can or cannot exist. To protect residents, land, water, and the power grid.
Time's up.
Applications are hidden. You gave the township the legal teeth it needs to set strict boundaries. We live in a data-driven world, and this technology is a These centers have to go somewhere. Right here!
Time's up.
Each and every speaker, no matter if they have the same opinion you do or not. Ma'am, please have a seat.
Thank you for doing the hard work to ensure Lenox is prepared, legally protected, and open for responsible economic development.
Thank you. Good night.
Right now.
Gotta stay shielded in and get your money.
Yeah, you be neutral on the clock.
My name is Frank. I'm not one of your handlers, like the guy said, but you have to wonder why anybody would want to give their address when you guys are after. I just want to say, I know it's hard. Thank you guys.
Lenox Township. I'd like to know, Mr. Reader, that nobody's even approached you. You don't know what the heck is going on. We know nothing about a data center. But you got the Luna guys over there. You got DTE and IBEW over here. But you know nothing? Right. Do you think we're really that stupid? Yeah. It's really amazing how much respect you give the residents is the exact same amount that you give back.
Coming for your job.
You don't have any insurance right now. It's on your budget to approve an insurance plan. These guys could flip and sue our butts off and file all kinds of cases at you right now, and they could just take over the township. Please do. My house is for sale. Hey, no.
Whatever.
There are. You've got development, DTE, the board, Mr. Razil. You should not have any input on anything on the I-94 development district because you own property and that is conflict of interest. Mr. Reader, I know the development district.
Just touched me.
Mr. Reader, I know the development district.
You only get 100.
Do you already know that the land is already contaminated because it's south of the dump? You're putting everything there? 1,500 acres? Are you out of your mind? I can appreciate they're going to pay you a lot of money. When? In 2066 or 2067 after their tax abatement is expired?
Which they shouldn't be getting in the first place.
You are a piece of work, bud.
Hello? Hi there, my name is Jake. And Some of the other speakers in here, and to me, technology is important. I want to touch a little bit about the first year, 2026, not 1996, it's not 1986. Technology is important, and it's not going away. Okay, it's here at nice big. I think it's like it's talking about the opportunities for today's generation. For a short example, as the majority of you here stream Netflix. Well, if you're streaming Netflix, sports, or whatever it may be, then you speak outside your children. Otherwise, it's a heavy eventually crash. All I'm asking is everyone has an open mind. Thank you.
Bye-bye. 125 in the parking lot.
But they gotta wait for the end. They gotta wait for the hours.
I'm not necessarily in favor of these data centers, but I do wonder, can we stop them with the companies that are funding them? I appreciate you taking the time to think about this economic development, and I hope that we can all come to an agreement on this. Thank you.
You don't live here.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, judges, for being here. Everyone has an opinion, whether you like it or not. So, there's always a positive to every negative. So that's all I have to say tonight.
Where do you live? What a joke.
Go get your money.
Oh, wait, stop. Can't have it.
We follow every step of the legal process. All the residents have a chance to learn. Then transparency is for
Get a real job.
My name's Kyle. I'm from the surrounding area.
Blah, blah, blah.
I'm Jim Martinez. I represent the Detroit Regional Chamber, which has businesses throughout Macomb County, including this community. Chances are members of this community either work for a chamber member or they have loved ones who work for a chamber member. So I really appreciate you taking the time to listen today as much as you're allowed to listen. It takes courage to be in office. We represent businesses of all sizes, and I heard somebody earlier say you have children. Yes, I do.
Do you live here?
A 12-year-old.
Do you live here?
A 15-year-old.
Do you live here?
And so, as we talk about the economy of the future, what we need to remember is we need to build communities that have opportunities and jobs for our children. So I encourage you to remember a few things tonight. Is 66% of Michiganders do not have an opinion on data centers.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you want to bet? Last I looked, this is America. Money on the table, buddy. Money on the table. You want to
If you're here because you're against the board, raise your hand or stand. Now, to everybody who doesn't live here, that $125 is blood money.
Yep.
Also, you are committing fraud.
Yep.
I have all of you on tape. Lady with the lawyers, the 125 is trackable.
Yep.
You get up here and you say anything, you committed fraud, Open Meetings Act, jail, $10,000.
Yeah.
If you didn't stand up to say you're here with us, if you didn't raise your hand, we got you on video. Have fun.
Yeah.
You're getting paid for the shit show? I feel bad for you. You must need entertainment.
Blood money. Blood money.
With any development besides the scale of today's traffic planning, absolutely want to keep taking the time to
Who wrote the script?
From what I can see, you handled this very well by following and laws to protect the community. Because you took that initiative to repair and appears like Lenox Township could very well be the shining example of you guys followed all the proper procedures and laws to protect the community. Local governments need to be ready when and if they are for these developments because this technology is going to be incredibly critical to our future infrastructure and economy. Thank you for doing the hard work to ensure the township is legally prepared, protected, and positioned for responsible growth. Where are you from? And then last meeting, I don't understand why some of these people are for I've been here for like last 5 minutes.
125 for you.
Hello, everybody. Council believes that innovation drives forward. Technology in this scope is valuable to society as I think there is a high level of drug discovery, advanced material science, and material national security and protection devices that were being able to be built this speeds up were possible a few years ago. With this being said, obviously, I would also just always things of these natures to be developed in the United States and other countries where we have this idea of this.
Non-resident. Bye-bye.
Good evening. Justin Robinson with the Detroit Regional Partnership. We're the Regional Economic Development Agency for the Detroit area. Our mission is to create new jobs for the region.
Go on again, Senator.
For the past 6 years, we've helped bring 140 projects into this community, generating 36,000.
Next. Next. We'll call you.
Engineering and manufacturing. To date, none of those have been data centers. And so districts like this are absolutely critical to support our industrial community here. You look up and down Gratiot Avenue, we're dotted by a lot of manufacturing, automotive, and otherwise. And so this district is a nice location as an opportunity for growth. And so we encourage the township to pass this ordinance as it comes to service in a factual manner. Thank you.
Move. Hit the road.
You get to sit through this with
My name's
us.
Tim, and I'm a former elected official, and I want to thank you for these types of issues are difficult.
Where do you live, Tim?
Difficult to make decisions on. That oftentimes,
Okay, just Tim.
listening to experts or so-called experts, and oftentimes it's things. I also want to commend the board for advocating short-term
Move on.
nothing to see here. A brief pause to gather facts, review ordinances, and ensure the community has the right policies in place is not a sign of a decision. It is a sign of thoughtful, forward-looking action. When dealing with emergency technology like data centers, it is far better to spend a few months getting it right than to spend years dealing with unintended consequences. Whether people ultimately agree or disagree with the final outcome, these decisions will shape Lenox Township for decades. They deserve careful deliberation, not rushed judgment. Thank you for your willingness to serve, your commitment to good governance, and your dedication to residents.
Hit the road, Tim. Bye-bye.
If you want, you'd like to take a recess here.
You created this.
No. Last time we did that, we voted.
How long would you like to take?
I don't blame you, it is.
3 weeks.
You guys created this.
Yeah, you guys hired them.
You hired them.
You hired them. Listen to your people. You guys hired them.
Take a 5-minute recess.
I just trained them to leave.
All right, we're going to call back to the board.
I understand that we're here in regards to the master plan for economic development. It doesn't just mean a data center, it could be a Sam's Club. I remember when John was here, and they didn't know what Cabela's was, so they turned it down and they went right over there to Chesterfield, instead of being here in Lenox Township, because nobody knew what it was just ignorance. And I'm seeing a mob mentality rule created by a former police officer.
He's from Lenox, let him talk.
It's hard for you to see it. The governor of this state wants to see a data center built here.
She's almost done. She's gonna move.
This is ridiculous. I mean, I'm looking at feeling how Thomas Edison felt when he had to say years ago. The only thing that comes to my head right now is one of the greatest presidents we ever had.
Go talk to the guy.
Ask now what you can do for Lenox Township. Ask now what
Bye-bye.
Looks like shit, it must be shit.
Bye-bye.
You gotta stay for the whole meeting. If you want 25.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Eric Gala. I'm a resident of Lenox and I live on 27 miles.
Yes.
Do we want Lenox Township to be known as the place that embraces the future or the place that spent the next 20 years wondering what could have been? Technology is not good for anyone. Every photo you upload, every business that runs online, every hospital, school, and emergency service depends on data centers. Whether we build them here or somewhere else, they're going to exist. So why should Lenox be a community that wants the benefit? Most of the people in this room are choosing to see this as a curse, and I see this as an absolute blessing. And an industry that's fully vibe coded by AI. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a newer up and coming thing that people might really indulge in. Basically, it is my whole income. I see the opposing side of this because it does generate jobs. For instance, I feed my daughter and my wife with this. So basically, I do support it.
Good. Move to Lenox. Enjoy yourself.
Just kind of infrastructure to compete globally, and I'm proud that I'm excited for Developmental district future map usage in the master plan. I am formally requesting, I love this in the meeting minutes under my name, I will give a copy of this as well. I am formally requesting that the Board of Trustees start the process with the Planning Commission and Jeffrey White, the Public Safety Director, for a zoning ordinance specifically for battery energy storage systems, BESS. This ordinance, in addition to the two other ordinances, as any light industrial usage can have the best applications, not just high resource demand facilities, the data centers. A lot of people argue that DTE's current grid cannot handle the power, but this would be that workaround. To help kickstart this process, I kindly request that you review the following sources. And again, I will give a copy of this and I can also email it to the clerk if requested. The Grant Sustainability Institute at UVM's Guide for Planning and Zoning for Battery Energy Storage Systems. It's a 36-page encompassing document with a sample zoning ordinance. Additionally, the EPA has their own site and lists the concerns with battery energy storage systems. The main concern for these energy storage systems is fire, and the government agency lists two recent examples. On May 15, 2024, Gateway Energy Storage Facility in San Diego, California, experienced a BESS fire which continued flare-ups for 7 days following the fire. On January 16, 2025, a BESS fire broke out at Moss Landing site in Monterey County, California, resulting in a 24-hour evacuation of about 1,200 residents. The EPA recommends on an on-scene coordinator to provide available training to the city fire. And then additionally, to people that are coming here that haven't been to all these meetings and have the context, we want these ordinances to protect us. The I-94 developmental district was slipped in underneath us. It has been done with a lack of transparency. I have a degree in industrial technology management. I understand that these data centers might be needed, but we already have a foundry, a dump, and a prison. Yeah. We are geographically very, very, very dense. A lot of us are fighting back against this because it's been done under our noses, and they aren't supporting you. If you want to build, you got to have an ordinance to build off of. They're not helping support the Planning Commission. That's why we've been fighting so hard.
That's right.
We have no rules to regulate any of that right now. They didn't extend any moratorium. One of the members, I forget his name, said to take this with care and caution. They haven't extended a moratorium so we can make decisions, have a full planning process. It's the point that they can't even make public notices in time for the public to even know about the meetings, for them to even be legal. Right. It is not fair to us to have this same process. It's not fair to us. We deserve transparency and we deserve it to be done with the care of our citizens. If we have to get a data center, I hope God we don't. I want it to be safe. Yeah.
I have 4 pages of markup on that. It is so poorly written. My background is in building automotive plants around North America and South America. Data centers are no different than that. They're not some benign flower stand. They're industrial complexes, and all the issues that are with those come along. Pollution, to say the least, and what's left behind. And like one of the things in this ordinance right here is that they only have to go 3 foot down, and they can let everything else buried when they decommission it. That's the kind of stuff in this. This is so poorly written. If I built a car based on this, and this is supposed to be like a specification, You know what you would call the car that resulted in it? A death trap.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this. The firm that you had write this, I'd ask my money back and I'd fire the lawyers.
Yep.
And I'll pass this on to you guys. I'm going to pass it on to the zoning commission. People have already mentioned. You got 13 facilities, schools, hospitals, and other daycares that are going to be down there. What are you going to do when there's a fire? And those fires do burn, and they do burn a lot if you look at the statistics around the country. How are you going to, what do you do if you have to evacuate the prison? That's nowhere in any of this stuff. And the last 4 pages of this is just fluff. It promises it has no regulations or stipulations or enforcement for hiring people locally. It uses generic terms. Those last 4 pages shouldn't even be in here. They're just kind of like soft coded and trying to bribe people with this concept of jobs. They don't come along once the construction. The other thing is, and I mentioned this in the last meetings, when we built plants around the country, we took our own workers with us. We didn't use local workers.
Right.
And this is very specialized training. So they're not going to just hire Joe Blow off the street and say, hey, yeah, come on, help me. There's too much money involved. When you're not running, that costs millions of dollars a day. So we took our own people. We added nothing to the economy, quite frankly, until the plant was up and running and we hired locals. And they're not going to hire hundreds of people. They're going to be like skeleton crews. And there's a whole lot, and like I said, I'll forward this on to you guys, but after I couldn't believe how much this useless dribble this is. That needs to be hardened up. There are no protections for anybody in Lenox. If I went by this spec, I would be saying thank you, because it allows you to do all kinds of things. They throw some little buzzwords in there, but when you really look at what they're referring to, and if you know anything about it, such as vibration in soil and all of that, it's all dribble.
Hello, Jessica Lenox resident. I'm not paid to be here. So it appears allegedly the tactics change from you get paid money to be neutral and to be here, but now you get paid to speak positively about the data centers. That's just what I'm thinking. I'm going to keep saying this, rescind the I-94 district. Might be a little too late for that, but at least put proper ordinances in place I want to make this very clear. I do respect union members very much. These men and women are some of the hardest workers and some of the backbones that built this country. However, can any of these union members say they live in Lenox or New Haven and support this in their backyard? Can anyone say that? Out of all the union members that live here, out of all of you guys?
Wow, that's a lot of jobs.
Okay, one. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Randy Schultz. I'm from Muzzy Township. I live on Canola Road. I'm running for State Senate District 25. And if I get elected, the first thing I promise I will do is stop all data centers in the state. Supervisor for Muzzy Township for 12 years. Did you not take the same oath I did to support the majority of the will of the people? Your vote on August 4th, and if I get elected, I guarantee you the first thing I will do is introduce a bill to stop data centers. Thank you.
Scott Dodge, Lenox Township. Well, here we are again, folks. As I'm sure the board is well aware, I've been speaking with hundreds of Lenox and New Haven residents lately. Yes, everybody knows that they're getting the signs from me. So I can honestly say that not a single resident has told me that they want to see a development district in the I-94 corridor, let alone a data center. And as I have conversations with them, just about every one of them say the same thing, that Reader, Grabow, and the rest of the board need to resign or be voted out of office. One resident even told me that they recently received a tax bill for their home and were not happy with the bill, so they inquired about it. They were told that Lenox is trying to mimic everything that Macomb Township has done. Wonder who's behind that. Macomb didn't want them. I don't know why we took them. Anyway, not a single resident has had anything good to say about the leadership that is currently in place. So on behalf of the residents and myself, I implore you as a board to listen to your conscience, for those of you that have one, and do the right thing. Start by terminating Mark Grabow and Eugene Boyd, who Eugene apparently now works as a bodyguard for you, Anthony, and Mark. So I don't get that one.
That's hilarious.
But once they are terminated, then I ask for each of you to save us taxpayers to process a recall. Everyone you know this is going to go through no matter how many appeals you do. Save yourself the embarrassment, just resign. Try to keep what dignity you have left. I do know a few of you have created fake Facebook profiles to try and defend what you're doing up here. One of you made a fake profile of an African American male eating fried chicken. Very racist. So that says a lot about what kind of person you are and your character. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, you are able to find out who created and is using these fake Facebook profiles. It's not that hard to do. So to the board and deputy supervisor, you have made your beds. It's time you sleep in them. So, and Mark, maybe we should just put that data center on your mom's property like you did your barn.
My name is Andrew McGilvery, and I am a Lenox Township resident, here to voice my strong opposition to the I-94 Development District. Many of you may remember me from previous meetings as the resident who stated that this leadership seems to operate as if they graduated from the Kwame Kilpatrick School of Government Leadership. Looking around tonight, that comparison still holds completely true. This meeting layout is a blatant attempt to suppress residents' voices. You knew tonight would be a highly attended meeting, yet you have it when there is a soccer group using the parking lot right as the meeting starts to intentionally limit spaces for tax-paying citizens who want to speak. Furthermore, I find it absolutely shameful that this entire board is fighting the recall petitions. You are actively trying to block the community from getting this on the ballot because you are terrified to let the residents vote on whether you should be removed for failing to do your jobs. This matches the broader pattern of consistent special meetings. I grew up around a family in elected office, and I have never seen a board rely so heavily on special meetings for business that should have been handled in a regular session. Look at the budget. You called a special meeting to adopt it. Messed it up and had to call another special meeting just to try and fix your mistakes. Look at the insurance issue where you clearly have no idea what you're talking about. Allowing an auto renew to charge the township before it was even legally voted on to adopt the budget. Worse yet, you have twisted the rules for forcing public comment at special meetings to the very end of the meeting. You voted first, and then you refuse to let the residents weigh in until after you've made your decision. The decision's already made, and it's a cowardly tactic. This shows a complete incompetence by your supervisor, Anthony Reeder, and his deputy supervisor, Mark Grabow. Because of your clear failure to run an open, honest, and ethical township government, I am asking for you both to resign immediately. I have brought here a pre-typed resignation letter for each of you. And admit you failed to run an honest, open, and ethical government. This board can immediately vote to declare the position vacant.
My grandparents moved here in 1955. We've been on Elm Street in New Haven ever since. I am now living in Armada, but I also pastor at Living Word Fellowship Church right in town, downtown here, underneath Pastor Warren Hood. Now, I'm going to come at you from the standpoint of just a dude. I am a father. I am a pastor. I would love to see good things for our community. However, with all of the outrage and all of everything that has been going on, I would compel you to reconsider, because
This doesn't happen out of nowhere. It's tough to get New Havenites out unless you got free food. So if they're coming out and there's this much outrage over all of this, I would implore you to reconsider, please. Because if this is truly not healthy for our children, and if this, what is being said is actually true, stop. Stop doing what you're doing and reconsider. However, if it is good, then state your case and please do it publicly in a meeting that is well lit and well known of.
Yeah.
So that we can all know that we can sleep at night knowing that our children are going to be safe. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Robbie. I live in New Haven. I just want to go over a few things. First of all, I'm an electrical worker. I've been doing it for a while now. I want to say that most everything in every job I do, there are safety stuff in with that, with each job, right? And there should be safety precautions with this as well. It's important that all of you come to these meetings to participate in the democratic process. It is how we make effective rules to prevent nightmare scenarios that unregulated states are experiencing. Our job is to make sure that data centers are built responsibly and quiet. Do not consume all of the water and do not pass electrical charges to the general public. You can do this by writing it into local ordinances. I would encourage all of you to investigate in our state current guardrails. Look up Michigan PA 207 of 2024. Here are some key points. Data centers are required to use municipal water supplies to qualify for tax incentives. Data centers would need to run a closed loop cooling system that would use 1 million gallons of water annually. Similar closed loop system is what keeps our cars and truck engines from overheating. For your reference, a 18-hole golf course would use between 100,000 to 400,000 gallons a day during the summer. That means the golf course would use anywhere between 9 to 36 million gallons of water in just 3 months. How many of you want to rely on and eliminate golf courses, right? We all know people who play golf, right? In Michigan, it is illegal to increase residential utility rates to cover the cost of the grid expansion for data centers. In other words, data centers must pay for grid expansion. I mentioned before that we must expand the grid so that we would be data centers must invest a minimum of $250 million and create at least 30 new permanent jobs that pay at least 150% above the regional median rate for workers in the community that allows them to be built. Data centers could become the 5th largest property.
3 minutes. Sorry. Thanks for your time.
Hello, my name is Sika Finley. I'm from Chesterfield.
You're good.
Township. I'm just here representing myself as a normal citizen. I'm speaking for the people. I got more so of concerns because I'm not fully educated. Like people come and they state their degrees and all, but from what I've researched, my first question as a people is, what the heck they collecting data for? Like what more data do they need from us? So my other concern is if they collecting all this data, and somebody mentioned about AI, everything has been built around us is generated on AI. From our cars, our cell phones, to the equipment at the hospital, to even our own household appliances, from refrigerators to stove. And I just want to put this out there. I just seen something on the news where they said they're going to be putting AI generated cameras into the garbage trucks, where they can actually use the garbage people as police informants. And with that being said, all the trash cans come through the neighborhood, collect our trash, so they're spying on us, from your Ring camera to anything you can think of. Your child can be sitting in their bedroom and they can be getting watched from a TV or an AI generated mirror, whatever you can think of. So when I thought about this, I'm like, they say that they're using all this data center to power the grid, right? But when we stood up here and we said the Pledge of Allegiance, one nation under God, I feel like it's one nation under the government. Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So with that being said, they taking all this acre of land that the animals live on. Yep. And like we said, we live on too. So what's happening to the animals surrounding in the surrounding areas? Yep. Then we talk about pollution and everything else. My big concern is they said they generated more jobs. Well, more jobs for who? Because everybody don't have a college degree or education, you know? So just like one of the guys came up here and said, well, they gonna generate jobs, but it's gonna be like a skeleton because they don't need as many workers when everything is generated by computers. Even at our gas station pumps, we don't have to walk in no more and speak to a teller. We can just sit there and do it from the gas pump, you know? Yep. So when y'all fighting and saying that technology is getting better for who? Because I actually read about the taxes too. They're getting money, not us. This is not better for us. So when you think about the pyramid, it's the government that's sitting on top and all of us at the bottom. So then also, I'm like, okay, everything is controlled by phones and by this AI. They can shut us down at any time. If we all connected on one grid, we can get shut down. That's right. They can silence us. They can do whatever we want. So if you ask me, I'm looking at it as our rights being taken, our privacy being taken. Yep. We don't have any rights.
Colleen, New Haven. I'm going to recite something from your actual website. Welcome to the Lenox Township, Michigan Master Plan. A shared vision. A shared vision. By whom I'm not sure. Of our community that reflects the voices, values, and aspirations of our residents. This is on your website. This plan serves as a roadmap to guide thoughtful growth. Preserve our unique character and enhance the quality of life for all who live here. I'm not seeing that being done at the moment. You get what I'm saying?
Not at all.
Quality of life who live, work, and play here. Grounded in collaboration and driven by data, the master plan outlines strategic goals for land use, housing, transportation, sustainability, economic development, and community well-being. Where is the data center in any part of this that's on your website?
None.
Together, we are shaping a resilient, vibrant future that honors our past while embracing the opportunities ahead. This is signed by elected officials Anthony Reeder, Michelle Gurley, Jennifer Sutherland, Joe Marino, Joe Raziel, the Planning Commission. They won't stop these companies. Only think of dollars. When something happens to people, they will try and cover it up. That profit is more important than people. Where profit wins over morals every time.
Yep.
Do you work for us, the people who elected you? Or these large corporations coming in and proposing lies and threatening the township with lawsuits?
Who do you represent? Us or them? That's it.
I'm Kelly Reamer. Many of you know me from the recalls.
Yes.
Citizens for a Better Macomb County, so if you don't know what that is, please check us out at abettermacomb.org. I'm standing here tonight. It's nice they won't look at me. They have been pretending to look at all of the other speakers. Standing here tonight not because I ever planned to be involved in politics, but because I'm a community member who cares deeply about where I live and the future of Lenox Township. Like many of my neighbors, actual residents, not paid union people, I stepped forward because we reached a point where we felt our voices were no longer being heard. I'm here tonight to ask you point blank, please start working for the residents who actually elected you. Please. I want to remind you of a fundamental truth about local government. You are public servants. You are elected by the people of this township to be our voice. As public servants, you're supposed to vote according to what the residents who elected you want, not according to how you personally feel, and certainly not according to the wills of outside developers or unions.
Right.
Your primary duty is to represent the collective will, values, and priorities of the electorate, not the pocketbooks of developers. Right now, a major example of this disconnect is the I-94 Development District. We don't want it. Let me be perfectly clear. No one has come up here in support that lives here.
Amen. Amen.
We're asking you to listen to the people who live here, hit the brakes, and send it back to planning for further work.
Do it.
The residents have been forced to take action. We currently have 2 approved recall petitions. They've chosen to appeal just to stall the process.
Right.
But the momentum is only growing. Tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock a.m. in the Macomb County Courthouse, in Judge Harrison's courtroom is another recall hearing.
Oh, good.
I would love for you all to join me.
Oh, good.
It's on the 5th ward. It's for all 5 ward members. But no matter what happens next, our focus is going to remain entirely on the residents of Lenox Township. This effort has always been about giving voters a voice and ensuring that the people who live here have a say in the future of our community. The overwhelming support we've received shows that many residents want leadership that actually listens to the community and works to protect our rural and agricultural character that makes our township such a special place to call home. Please start working for us, not the developers, not the unions, not a law firm. Send the I-94 district back to planning. This isn't about any one person. It's about making sure the people, not politicians or the developers or the unions, have a final say. Okay, I want to address the North Point storage rezoning extension request. I drove around local communities where they've had various storage facilities. I didn't see any sidewalks. So my question is, if you do approve that tonight,
can you please make sure there's a sidewalk? Yeah. I really do. It's dying on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I'm going to start out, I do want to give at least some credit where credit is due. Jeff White and all the work that the EMS and Richmond Lenox EMS and SMART did today, making sure that everybody has Thank you, Jeff. That said, I'm going to say thank you to all the union members that are being here today, because you guys are making a point. You think that you're coming up here and you're speaking in support of data centers, and we're all going to go, oh wow, there's people that support this. The only point you guys are making is proving the point that there are outside entities that don't give a shit about Lenox Township.
That's right.
So, unlike all of you, I'm not being paid $125 to get up here and speak tonight. But later this week, when I'm, hey guys, where? Hey guys, go. You're misrepresented. Later this week, when I'm being interviewed by WDIV about all the shit that's going on here, bringing up about all the outside entities that were being paid to
That's
speak
right.
we have rights to clean everything, noise, light, water, air pollution. You pollute everyone, everything, or everyone pays. Nature, the earth, our bodies, which includes sickness and death. Pretty sure it's a crime against humanity. Think it should be punished by law. We the people need to greatly be pushing back. Okay, there are laws that can limit pollution from AI data centers. The Clean Air Act covers emissions from generators and other equipment, including turbines. Clean Water Act and Michigan water rules can restrict discharges and water withdrawals. Local zoning and I think it's nuisance laws can address noise, setbacks, and land use. Environmental permitting projects may need state or local permits before building or operating. Has anybody here seen any proof of these? Has anybody noticed electric bills already going up?
Yep.
Just wait. If a data center comes here, let's see here. Example, okay, like electricity costs in Texas where they have a super big data center are expected to rise, suggesting increases of 25% to even 70% over the next 5 years. Paying people to speak for AI data centers, don't think that sets very well with the rest of us, as we see already. So anyway, we're trying to protect our rights just to be able to live a life.
Hi, Beth Oakley, 29185 27 Mile Road. People have said so many good things tonight, and I wasn't planning on speaking, but I can't let all that go by without saying something. It does kind of give credence to what Brian just said about that if people didn't have outside interests and invested things in money in this that were outside the community, they wouldn't be here. So it's kind of laughable when I'm hearing people stand up here and say we're against technology and we're against jobs. I don't believe that anybody in Lenox Township is against technology and against jobs. We're against 1,500 acres of pretty much a back door being opened for someone to come in and do whatever they want in a very inappropriate and we're asking the board to do their job because you do have opportunity. And I think you need to be reminded, and it's unfortunate that we have to kind of come up here and go, you need to be reminded that you do have the power to be able to do that. We've watched, all of us have watched the planning commission and the board go bang, bang, back and forth, throwing each other under the bus. And it sucks, and it kind of wants to go, can you get it together, and can you work together? You do have the power to open up that, the
Master plan.
Thank you, master plan, thank you. To be able to rezone that, to look at the massive footprint that you're allowing. It doesn't mean that you can't allow certain things. We would love to see growth and jobs. Does a data center necessarily have to be open for 1,500 acres? I think it would be responsible as a board and a planning commission to look at that, to look at what you've left this open to, because it's obvious with the unions and people being paid for, there's an agenda and they want you to pass it. They want you to pass it. And you do work for the people, not them. It's great that the union is here and they're telling you, we think it's great. They don't live here. Your responsibility is to this, and you have the power to open that up. And it's amazing to me that you guys won't even consider that a moratorium or looking into that. And the lawyer, if this lawyer is telling you that it's great, it's not. So I just hope that you hear something of all this tonight. You do work for us. There's enough people here showing you. To remind you again, you have the ability to open up the master plan and work with the planning commission, which would be amazing. And you could show the constituents of this community that you actually might have our back.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sierra. I'm a Lenox resident. I'm also the secretary for the nonprofit Citizens for a Better Macomb. We've been working very hard and volunteering endless hours and sacrificing time with our family to be here and involved. First off, I want to start by asking, actually let's read number 7, consent agenda. According to established township meeting rules, there will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the board or public so requests at the meeting, in which event the chair of the meeting may remove such items from the consent agenda. I would like to request to remove the public safety report. We need to discuss future safety measures for these meetings, like I had to bring up to the board and to the public safety director in order for the parking arrangements to even have been made tonight. These have been no issues. And Supervisor Reeder, you never got back to me about it. And also to pull off the engineer's report, planner's report, we need to see what's in there. Also, this leadership here, why? Why are we following, who is leading this? Who's leading it and why are we following this? It is chaos. The citizens have to tell you how to do your jobs. This is absolutely ridiculous. Everyone here who's being paid to support and kind of rile everyone up, I don't know if they're union workers or what, just put a little small refrigerator-sized data tower in your home or backyard if you support it on a profit.
Yep.
Don't bring it here.
That's right.
And a resident whose daughter is in labor would like me to read. This is Melissa Landrum. She's a resident of Lenox Township, and she wanted to be here. She loves this community exactly as it is. They chose to live here because of the open spaces, the farmland, the wildlife, and the quiet rural way of life. A massive data center simply does not fit the character of this township. While data centers are often promoted as progress, I believe we need to ask, progress for whom? These facilities consume enormous amounts of electricity and water while creating relatively few permanent jobs compared to the amount of land that they occupy. The burden falls on the community while the benefits largely go elsewhere. I'm also concerned about the environmental impact. Data centers require millions of gallons of water for cooling, increasing energy demand, contributing to noise pollution from industrial cooling equipment, and replace farmland and natural habitat with concrete and steel. Once that land is developed, we do not get it back. Property values and quality of life matter. People invest in homes here because this is a rural community, not an industrial technology corridor. We should not sacrifice our township's identity for a project that may not provide meaningful long-term benefits to the people who already live here. I ask our township leaders to think beyond the promises being made today. What will Lenox look like in 20, 30, or 40 years? Future generations just clean water, productive farmland, thriving wildlife, and a community that values its rural heritage. Growth is important, but not every project belongs in every community. Sometimes the wisest decisions in protecting what already makes a place for else. I respectfully ask you to vote against this proposal and preserve the character, resources, and future of Lenox Township. Once we trade away our rural character, we can't buy it back. Some things are worth more than tax revenue.
All I want to say is this board is under a lot of pressure. It's unbelievable. The thing about it is you guys still are required to follow rules. So, and that takes a lot of integrity, in my opinion. So, I mean, I just don't think that doesn't get said.
Integrity in this board?
Zero integrity.
You're already lying.
Get your money. Don't get your money out.
My grandparents came to Lenox in 1940, built a farm. Their farm was, the house was actually built in 1920s. They went to an existing farm. And they came here to the rural community. They were here before on 94. Land is important. Soil holds the carbon. Soil is only second to the oceans in keeping the carbon out of the atmosphere. The thing that we're concerned about is our killing our planet.
Yep.
We only have years left before we have to complete the certification of our planet. There's some documentaries you can watch on crime, Kiss the Ground, Groundswell. There's a lot of scary stuff. Once you take that land and you start pushing all that, and there's a lot of wetlands, there's forests, and that is holding so much carbon. As soon as they start pushing that up there, the initial release is 18 tons per acre of carbon into the atmosphere.
Oh my God.
And that's just to start. And once that soil is gone, and it has been paved over, it has zero capacity forever to contain any carbon again. So just consider that before putting anything, whether it's a data center or anything else. Why do we need industry? The thing says underutilized land. That land is working really hard, especially the parts that have just some crap growing in them, like some wheat, some wood, where there's deer, all the animals, from the tiniest microbes in the soil, all the way up. That's what we depend on for our life. It's our life on the line here. Do we really need to change this from a rural community of farms and open spaces and recreation for some tax money? For what? What does that land require in tax revenue? What is the cost associated with that? You don't get anything for free. So when they're saying, oh, we're going to get all this tax money and all that, the investment into the infrastructure, the damage that is done, the things that are taken away, the things that we lose forever, that's the price you have to pay. It's not free money.
Amen.
That's right.
Amen. Won't need any tractors then, will we, Rosie?
Well, this thing's still on. Hi, I'm Larry. I'm a Macomb County resident. And I didn't come here to talk in favor or against data centers. I came here to listen and learn. And then I decided I wanted to talk, so I put something on my phone. But I want to speak about property rights. No one has the right to tell anyone what they can and cannot put on their property. You actually have a job to do. And your role is very simple. Regardless of whether it's a Bible club, a taco restaurant, data center, or a plastic factory, follow the laws and the procedures stated from the state, federal, and local guidelines. You need to ensure that all the laws are followed in the federal guidelines, and you have done that. For that, I thank you.
You haven't been to a meeting, have you?
Never been here before. Huh?
You haven't been here before.
You're out of camera. It's your first day.
We all have the God-given right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and to be secure in our persons and our property.
They're elected officials. Do you want to take my property too? Because they do. They're elected officials. She doesn't want about rights. You're asking me to give up my personal property
No,
for
I'm
this.
actually asking you to respect my First Amendment right like I did yours the entire night. Thank you.
Go sit down.
Go sit down.
Those two horse trainers, right there. Two horse trainers.
Good evening, my name is Miranda, and I work in cybersecurity. When there's a cybersecurity attack or a data breach, I'm the one who gets the call. I'm on the front lines responding to attacks, investigating breaches, and tracking down where they come from. You know all of those letters and notices that you guys get in the mail saying that your personal information has been compromised or your credit cards have been hacked? Where do you think that originates from? All of that is from adversaries like China and Russia and all of them who want to take our data, our money, and what do they want to do with it? They want to steal it for whatever they're going to do with it. But here's the truth. From somebody who does this job day in and day out, our country faces hundreds of thousands of cyber attacks every day. Every day. The real danger isn't the data center on American soil. The real danger is the data that sits overseas. in the hands of countries that don't give two shits about us.
How do we get it?
When these are built here, we have control. When they are built in China, the China government can do whatever they want with that data. You think they can access that data? Absolutely.
They're still in it.
Ukraine, anyone, they can access that data. We have control. So if you want to keep your data safe and secure, build the data centers here in
Hope you get a pizza.
I don't think I've ever been more proud of my community. What a sense of community.
Yeah.
Oh, we started?
Get it.
I'm stupid. First off, Ann Pridemore, proudly from the village of New Haven. I'd like to acknowledge that we already warned about union personnel from outside the community attending these meetings. I had a resident from Township on the Michigan Against Data Center site reach out to me and said that the IBEW tends to show up at these meetings statewide. I guess we should be flattered and qualified. I thought that union workers got paid enough money, apparently not. Now, as part of at the last recall hearing, I submitted 2 recall petitions. And as part of the rebuttal, Anthony here kept repeating, "You were the village president of New Haven. You should know better." I do know better. I had the privilege to lead the recall against 5 New Haven elected officials about a dozen years ago when they tried to sneak in a landfill. I'm sure some of you remember that. We gathered enough signatures to recall 4 of them, but I never collected signatures on the 5th. A short while later, he was arrested on public corruption charges and sent to a federal prison down in West Virginia.
Remember that, Joe?
Yeah, I just want to give you a heads up on some of the players here. The attorney that has been threatening the council with dire consequences if they don't comply with his every demand. If it's Paul Andery Sr., he's been practicing law since the Nixon administration. Okay, 55 years. The Chesterfield Lenox Alliance, whatever the heck it is being run by a guy who is the sole agent of that alliance, and the address of the alliance is an apartment over by Lakeside Mall.
Right.
These are the top guys that are threatening us
Right.
with dire consequences if we don't cave.
Right.
So you know who the players are. Also, one last thing, there's something called nonfeasance in office. That's when an elected official gets elected to office knowing they can't do the job and they have somebody else doing the job for them. That's actually a felony.
That is.
Ariana Welsh, Lenox Township property owner. Because
Yay!
residents still give a shit about what's going on in this township. Just delivered some nice letters from residents that I encourage everybody to take a look at. I'm urging you to not approve the 94 district ordinance tonight. But I'm going to give you guys a break. I think you've heard enough about this. I got some other stuff for you. I emailed these issues to the board directly, but since I don't get responses to my emails, I'll bring them up here and remit an official public record tonight and public comment regarding several severe statutory, procedural, and financial violations. First, public lockout and parking deficit. On July 8th, a handful of residents arrived for the budget meeting to find the doors locked. I was one of them. I was locked outside. Everybody got an email about it. Yes, you were. I emailed the entire board because I actually just called her to let me in to the 7-minute long budget meeting. So much deliberation must have happened in that 7 minutes before I walked in here.
Right.
It's a sham. It's ridiculous. I have emailed this point relentlessly. Restriction to access continues with our structural parking crisis, so much so that the residents coordinated a shuttle bus to bring residents from the New Haven High School tonight. My physical tally confirmed we have 210 paved spaces out there. Yet based on building square footage and peak capacities published on the Township website, realistic peak use requires at least 350 spaces. We are short by about 140 spaces. How the Planning Commission ever approved these sports field expansions without being compliant on the parking ordinance? I do want to give a big thank you to Public Safety Director Jeff White and the DPW Director for their efforts tonight in coordinating this. Guys, that took a lot of work. So, we need a permanent fix, not just a one-night Band-Aid. The board must immediately update its park policy to block out all commercial field and pavilion rentals during our public meetings, so statutory right to access local government isn't auctioned off for rental revenue.
Yep.
Second, the June 9th special meeting and attorney Tom Callis. The board made the motion on June 9th to hire attorney Tom Callis for his purported expertise in data center ordinances. I went back and listened to the meeting because I thought maybe I was just losing it and heard something different at the Planning Commission meeting. Yet on June 22nd, Mr. Callis stated he was actually retained to verify and write an opinion on public hearing notices. You represented his hiring. It's okay, I'll save it for my second round.
Yeah.
My name is Selena Fisher, formerly Selena Orlando, and I'm a almost lifelong resident of New Haven. I was not planning on being here today at all, let alone speaking, but I help run the soccer league for the kids. And I stepped in for a second, and I'm really glad I did, because A, I'm woefully uneducated about this situation, and I'm not anymore, vividly not. But 2 years ago, my husband and I, we decided to move ourselves and our 3 young children back to New Haven where I grew up. And we did this because of the pride that it had to offer. And, small town feel. Everyone knows everyone. I can name a dozen of you from where I stand right now. Everything that we knew we'd need for our kids growing up, it was an investment we made in our family. And I like to think that I'm speaking for the new generation, who's raising kids, sending them to the schools here. And as an alumni, I just need to speak to one person specifically. Reader, you're a year younger than I am. What the hell are you doing? In the same town, going to the same school, sitting in the same classrooms that I was. You were voted into school offices where you led brilliantly. I voted for you personally to sit in the chair that you're sitting at, barely making eye contact and probably playing tic-tac-toe with yourself with your pen. But I'm not here to insult you. Really, I'm not. What I'm here to do is say, you grew up in the same sense of security that I did. You can't say you didn't, as I was there. I saw it. But what I'm saying is I hope, I really do, I hope that all the shortcuts you're taking in office right now, the office that we entrusted to you, I hope that the price you're being bought for is worth what you're going to pay in the long run. Because what these people in here, myself, my children, my husband, and whatever kids we plan to welcome in the future, we stand for New Haven. We have rocket pride here in this room, and you have lost yours.
Hi, my name is Pat Gonzar. I'm from Richmond Township, and there was some rumors that there was going to be a data center in Richmond Township, so I tried to become well-versed in data centers and the pros and cons. And like the very first speaker, I think he was an electrician from a union, and he was saying how there's going to be jobs. It's a no-brainer. The data center comes in. Yeah, jobs will be created, but they're temporary. And then they leave, and how many jobs are retained in a data center? From my research, not that much. And there's no guarantee that those people who are employed will be living in the community.
Amen.
But what will be guaranteed is property values will drop. And that's an equation that no one's looking into, or at least I don't know if the board member is. Furthermore, you talk about one gentleman in orange. He talked about water usage, closed loop. Well, when you look into the technology, closed loop does minimize water usage. But what happens is it spikes the electricity usage. So it's an engineering conundrum. It hasn't been resolved yet. And so when that other gentleman first came up to talk, he tried to equate people who are against data centers to be kind of back the horse and buggy when automobiles were bought. That's a terrible comparison, because the problem is the data centers, we've had them around since 40s, 50s, 60s, but the technology to cool the electronics has not kept pace. And so these hyperscale data centers have encroached on the public's community, municipalities, the electrical grid, the water system. Furthermore, back in July, you may have recalled, there was a thunderstorm. 40,000 people were without electricity. And the gentleman came up and talked about, how there's mandated that they can't raise our electric rates. Well, what also isn't made public to people very much is Governor Whitmer signed a mandate, a legislative mandate, that we have to have zero carbon usage by 2040. Since they were going to be totally on wind and solar, and that's going to be reliable, and yet these data centers will be sucking up so much electricity, it's folly. It's just foolishness to think that they're not going to impact the community's electrical grid. Anyway, I just want to emphasize this because it's not well thought out.
Hi, my name is Valerie. I'm from Ray Township, but I do own a house here in Lenox Township. And I was just wondering if any of you believe in God, because I do. And I believe in my God-given rights. My right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and the protection of all properties. People came to America to have property. And you're infringing on our property values. You're infringing on our way of life. These data centers violate all of our God-given rights protected by our Constitution. And you are willfully saying, screw you to God. You are saying, I don't care about your God-given rights. You're all saying it. And you shouldn't be saying it.
Right.
When are you going to uphold your oath of office to God and the Constitution? Because last time I read something online, it said the data center told the board that they cannot extend the moratorium, they have to get this ordinance done. And y'all just bent over and said, hit me harder.
Deadbeats.
Hi, looking for you that I decided to finish Ariana Welch's talk.
Yay!
Third, insurance policy violations and lack of RFP. On or about June 24th, The deputy supervisor verbally authorized the renewal of the township's insurance contract outside of the public motion. He did this despite the insurance agent explicitly stating that renewal notices had been sent 90 days prior. The deputy supervisor had absolutely no authority to unilaterally bind this township to an expenditure exceeding $150,000. He knows the proper procedures, and this flagrant violation of township expenditure policy should be grounds for immediate dismissal. Furthermore, the defense that he asked for 5 bids is completely disproven by the board packet tonight, which contains only 1 bid from 1 agent. This contract must be tabled and sent out for proper multi-agent public request for proposal. The board must take drastic action regarding this unauthorized overreach instead of rubber stamping it tonight. Is anybody paying attention?
No.
You're all sleeping.
Fourth, budget coding obscurity and omissions when this board approves expenditures such as the recent handicap parking blocks. The motions fail to explicitly distinguish which department account or accounting code the funds are drawn from, making financial tracking intentionally confusing. Additionally, for proper public accounting, the June 1st meeting minutes must be amended to include specific parcel ID numbers associated with the approval hardship item. Leaving identifying parcel data off the public record is unacceptable bookkeeping. From the state's statutory perspective, under the Uniform Budgeting and Accounting Act, this board never even formally voted to present a 6-month budget framework. I demand this board table all financial and contractual votes tonight until proper competitive RFPs are publicly presented and lawful statutory procedures are followed. Thank you.
All right, moving on to consent agenda. All items listed on this consent agenda are considered routine by the township board and will be enacted by one motion. According to the established township meeting rules, there will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the board or so requests after prior to the meeting, in which event the chair of the meeting may remove such items from the consent agenda for discussion and consideration. The agenda number item number 8 below. Approval of the consent agenda shall be by the majority roll call vote for those present and present.
Orders and bills for the month of June was $882,663.91.
I'd like to make a motion that we pay the bills in the amount of $802,663.91.
I'll second it. I have a motion by trustee Rosio, supported by treasurer Sutherland. Would the deputy clerk please call the roll?
Rocio?
Aye.
Gurley?
Aye.
Marino?
Yes.
Reader?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
All right, moving down, item number 10, new business, item A, North Point Storage Conditional Rezoning Agreement Extension Request. Mr. Grabo and Mr. Safe, and also I know Mr. Kevin Gallagher is here representing the petitioner.
All right, good evening, board. This evening, this has been brought back to the township board for review. I'm going to ask
our township engineer to step forward or from the mic, give some updates. Mr. Griffin Ellick is here in order to give any answers, but there are some recommendations that have been reviewed, looked at by the planners. Mr. Safe will walk us through this for the engineering side and updates. You would please.
Good evening, thank you, Board. I was asked to walk the board through, just because the planner is not here, we have no engineering issues here, except for the comment originally during the planning commission meeting last week regarding the sidewalk. So the board should have received the July 9th communication from the planner. And the planner is pointing several items specifically for issues need to be addressed before a formal recommendation can be provided. And that is listed on the paragraph 2. They're stating that the original conditional rezoning agreement dated September 1, 21st was expired, and they are recommending the renewal or modification should go back to the Planning Commission and setting up a public hearing as stated in the requirements. Further, they are stating that the request is attaching an October 9, 2025 version of the site plan, which is modified and which stating that they received an administrative approval from the Lenox Township planner, but we cannot find, they couldn't find any record of that. So they are, again, they are recommending that the Planning Commission must approve the revised site plan dated October 9, 2025. Further, they stated that the last week meeting, the Planning Commission approved a motion to extend the conditional rezoning agreement to July 31st, 2027, contingent upon compliance with the township ordinance, but it's referencing the March 6, 2022 review letter to keep the proposed sidewalk as proposed. So the modified, I think they're saying the modified site plan, they actually meant the request from Ms. Lenox Collector's office dated July 6th is arguing whether the sidewalk should be included or not. But I believe that the Planning Commission motion was very clear that they will not approve without the sidewalk remaining on site. The last comment was the variance through defer the sidewalk construction back on May 5th, 2022. They are just clarifying that variance is null and void, which has expired. And again, it contradicts the requirement of the Planning Commission requesting the sidewalk permit. So this is the planner's recommendation, and I will try to answer any questions that the board would have.
Mr. Gunner.
Yes, excuse me. Gary Gunnermellick on behalf of the property owner, and in the planner's most recent review, it says in section small d, incorporated by attachment of reference any diagram, plans, or other documents submitted or approved by the owners that are necessary to illustrate, and I accentuate the word illustrate, the implementation of the statement of conditions. So I want to hand you this, because I just got this today, where it does show an email from Steve Casson, who was the Lenox Township planner at the time, dated December 2nd, 2025, that says it was addressed to Amy Genak at PCE, the engineering firm for this particular development. The revised plans have been administratively approved. The next steps would be to seek engineering and building approvals. So I hand this off to you. And I'll give one to Mr. Met on my way back. Because it has attached to it, I'll go back to the microphone. And I'll give one. So that document came from Steve Casson and said the modified revised plan was okay. So attached to this is Exhibit 5 from the letter that I sent to the township previously that showed the sidewalk in the road right-of-way for 26 Mile Road. Part of the discussion in the past was where should the sidewalk be? The road commission wanted it farther back, and that would have eliminated two of the buildings that run parallel to 26 Mile Road. The revised modified plan basically shows the same configuration except for the elimination of one building. Before, there were 5 buildings on either side of the entrance driveway. Now there's 4 to the east side, which is the right side of the drawing, and 5 on the left side. And it shows the sidewalk running in a westerly or easterly direction from the front portion of the property where the Lenox Township pump station is. Lenox Township owns that. Then it runs easterly and then comes back up by Quail Run. There is a sidewalk at the entranceway to the adjacent single-family subdivision. So in this modified plan, my client does show the installation of a sidewalk in the public road right-of-way as it currently exists. So what the new planner said and what this document clearly demonstrates, that my client's willing to build it as modified with the elimination of one building from the initial illustration and the installation of the sidewalk that would run from the township's property at the western edge easterly, and then it would swing up at the entranceway to Quail Run. So to me, this plan, as noted in that email, with the modification eliminating one building, is consistent with what took place in the past as originally agreed with the first extension. And so this second extension basically shows the sidewalk, which was of some public concern at the last meeting, and it would be built within the road department's current right-of-way. And so in my letter of July 6th, we provided that information and correspondence from previous similar situations in Macomb County as to the installation of sidewalks, that they have to be within the current road right-of-way, not in some future road right-of-way that might exist. So this submission is in compliance with what the Lenox Township officials had said in the past. So we would ask that you authorize the township supervisor to sign the second extension on this conditional rezoning agreement that would run through July 31st, 2027. And if you had any questions, I try to answer them. And I suspect that your current planner didn't have access to Steve Caston's email of December 2nd, 2025, and I don't think Sue had it either. So, as you can see, it came from the engineer at BC, Scott Buffin, to me today. Because I had received information from the township on Friday of last week, and then I corresponded with BC to see if they had any documentation, which they did.
How far is the sidewalk going to be away from the road? I'm sorry, the text is really small on these plans here.
I have a bigger.
Same location, Mr. Supervisor, originally at the 33-foot right away. I have a larger plan on my screen.
So how many feet from the road itself?
From the road itself.
Yeah, I see.
Less than 40 feet from the edge of pavement. I can try to get you an exact measurement. Yeah, it's hard to measure on these PDFs, but they're about 40 feet from the pavement. Just eyeballing it. I don't have an exact measurement. I can't measure it using a PDF. Anywhere between 30 and 40 feet. If you see the dimensions from the right of way to the edge of site to the edge of the building, it says 40 foot. If you say that dimension, that's almost the same distance between the back of the sidewalk to the right of way. So I'm saying somewhere between 30 and 40.
And that building that runs parallel to 26 meets the front yard setback requirement for that area.
The planning commission has never seen this new drawing with the, has not seen this new drawing with the changes of the buildings though, am I correct?
No, they saw it. Well, I don't, they saw it at the previous meetings.
The planner, that what's being argued here is the planner administratively approved this new plan without having to go back to the planning commission. And they have an email from Steve, the previous planner, saying it's administratively approved. So the planning commission has never seen these plans. They're dated October 9, 2025. So last week's planning commission, their motion was to revert back to the original back in 2022. They approved that with recommendation to extend the conditional rezoning agreement for the board. But what we have here is a different site plan. So if the board gonna honor the Steve's administratively approved, which we didn't have a copy at that time, they can move on forward. But you are correct, Madam Clerk, that the planning commission has never seen these plans.
Well, they saw it not back when that was taking place in 2025. fact that they saw it in conjunction with the most recent meetings that we were there. Because we gave them the original plan and that modified plan that Steve, your former planner, who had been here for a good number of years, approved. And basically he said, now you have to go through engineering. And we eliminated one building, so there's theoretically less traffic because there's less units to be rented out. And my client's not seeking a waiver as to the sidewalk requirement. It's there on that modified plan. So the only modification really is the elimination of one building.
Just to clarify, again, the second amendment proposed by Mr. Gendon, it does reference the October 9th, 2025 site plan, which has these changes. But again, we're stating that the planning commission has not seen these plans. It was only administratively approved by the previous plan.
And that's what my client relied on because that's who you deal with on a daily basis as to moving forward. And he said the next step is go through the engineering process. Because quite often in engineering, things get modified because you find things in the ground, pipes aren't where they thought they were. So, and it's different if you increase the number of units, number of rental spaces. It's generally not a detriment if you reduce. Because I've seen many occasions in my career that certain site plan for multi-unit development was X number of units, but when it's finally gone through the engineering process, there's less because there might be wetlands or some other restriction that precludes building the number of units that was originally appropriate.
That is a correct statement. However, we don't deal with the number of buildings or layout, general layout. That's site plan and planning commission's job. We deal with storm sewer, grading, sidewalks, but not the buildings. So just to make sure everybody's clear that this modified site plan does not match the original number of buildings, the width of the driveways, and total layout of the site, this proposed site plan. So it is modified, but again, we do have a document or an email that says that it was administratively approved by the previous plan, but it does not match what's on file.
Yeah. My next question would be for Jeff and Kim. Has the fire department reviewed this site plan for anything at all?
I can answer that. I do have a review from the Public Safety Department, which is dated March 10th, 2022, on the original site plan.
So not the current one before?
Not the current one.
And the fire department was in approval, and we eliminated one building and widened the driveway. So I would suspect that those were steps in a positive direction from the fire department's perspective. If you have a larger driveway, you have greater mobility with reference to emergency vehicles coming in and out.
I don't have any further questions. Any other questions from members of the board? No? Jen, Michelle? If there's no further discussion, motion will be in order.
That was granted, it's elapsed. We're not asking for that variance. We're asking to have the sidewalk in the road right-of-way running from the subdivision at the west end, but there, between us is the property owned by the township. Presumably the township might put in the sidewalk on their property, running over towards Whale Road.
And sir, what was the recommendation of the planning commission again?
They can see it.
So the planning commission, they were requested to review the extension of the reconditional, the conditional rezoning application. So they had an issue with the sidewalk, with the layout, but they never came to this conclusion about the administratively approved site plan. We didn't have a copy of that, and they never had a copy of that. So their motion, if I believe I have a copy of that. They made a recommendation to approve the original site plan, which is basically the 2022 version. Back to the board for a renewal of the conditional rezoning agreement. But the second amendment did not. The second amendment is requested here tonight, reference the 2025 version. So again, it's the board's pleasure if you see that the planner's administratively approval is sufficient and don't have to go back to planning, you can vote that way. If you don't think that is sufficient and the planning commission recommendation referencing the original 2022 version of the site plan, then you can certainly send it back to planning. Again, fire safety review was referencing the original 2022 site plan, not the 2025 version.
If there's no further discussion, I'll make a motion to send the proposal back to the planning commission with the updated site plan for a site plan review as the site plan has been done.
Yeah, awesome.
Is there support for the motion? No. Seeing none, the motion dies. If there's no further discussion, a motion from the board will be in order. Motion on the item is required.
I would like to make a motion.
You turn your mic off. If it's on.
I'd like to make a motion that we table the North Point Storage Conditional Rezoning Agreement extension until next meeting so that we can confer with the current planner as to the drawings.
There's support for the motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion by trustee Rosio, supported by trustee Marino. Could the deputy clerk please call the roll?
Rossio,
Aye.
Marino,
Yes.
Reader,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Gurley.
Aye.
All right, moving down,
Can
item,
I ask you a question? When would that be on the planning commission agenda?
he tabled it to the next meeting of the board.
Oh, the next, okay. Very good, thank you.
All right, moving on, item B, section 719.51, sorry, 58, I-94 Development District. First reading, this is just a procedural item. There is no vote. This is without objection from the board. This will be considered as read, and the clerk's office shall publish the mandated notice of receipt. And if there is no objection, it is so ordered. Moving on to item C, Planning Commission request for independent specialist, Mr. Grable.
Good evening, board. This evening, there is a document in front of you that was requested from the Planning Commission to be brought forward through the supervisor's table. This evening, you do have that document in front of you requesting their items that they have put forward in their email from the Planning Commission chair at that time. They have asked for a number of items to be considered. With that, I'll bring it back in front of the board for any questions, comments, or considerations that you have that are in front of you at this point in time.
If there's no further discussion from the board, a motion is in order. Is there any motion from the board?
I'll make a motion to table the planning commission request for independent specialist and local planning specialist where needed.
Is there support for the motion?
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Trustee Rosio, supported by Treasurer Sutherland. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Rocio,
Nay.
Gurley,
It was done.
I think it was Jen.
Yeah.
I apologize. Jen, Sutherland,
Aye.
Gurley,
Nay.
Marino,
Yes.
Reader.
Nay. Item passes 3-2. Moving down, item D, 26 Mile Road Station lift up repair, Mr. Trombley.
Yes, good evening. Recently we encountered a failure with one of our lift pumps. This lift pump is located in our lift station, located on 26 Mile Road, takes care of that arm of our sanitary sewer system. I did call up Kennedy Industries, which is our preferred contractor, to verify that this failure existed. Had them take the pump back to their facilities once they installed our spare pump for an estimate. They did verify that we did have some seal failures as well as some other intrusion of water into the pump. They did come come back with me with a full rebuild for the pump at a cost of $14,975. I know that sounds like a lot, but I did have them price out a new pump, a complete new pump, and that cost is $23,697. So you're looking at a $8,700 difference. We have gone this route in the past numerous times where we've had these pumps rebuilt by this company. They have a very thorough process that they go through and quality control procedures, and we've had nothing but great luck having these pumps rebuilt by this company. So it would be my recommendation to move forward and have them rebuild this pump at a savings and a cost of $14,975. Another notable point is it does cut our lead time as far as receiving this pump back in half versus ordering a new pump.
What's the warranty?
Warranty on a rebuild would be 1 year. This pump that we're having rebuilt would fall back into the spare mode. So it'd basically be sitting there waiting until our next failure. But they honor their work, and they've always stood behind it. From when they put it in and do the startup, they do amp draws, load testing, just like they do every year when I have them come out and do the yearly maintenance on the station. So all this is documented because of what the station does handle.
If there's no further discussion, a motion would be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve the repair and rebuilding of the lift pump for the 26-mile road station at the cost of, $14,975 through the Kennedy Industries at the recommendation of the DPW Superintendent, Ann Trombley.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Sutherland, supported by Trustee Marino. May the deputy clerk please call the roll.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Marino?
Aye.
Rossio?
Aye.
Gurley?
Aye.
Reader?
Aye. Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is the Johnson Controls additional security equipment proposal. Mr. Grabo?
All right, good evening, board. This evening you have a update request for equipment to improve and update security systems within the front end of the house, which is basically the operations side of Town Hall. These systems have not been updated since their install in 2007. They are in need of repair or updating, not repair, updating, as they are old, antiquated, and part of it is an analog system. Johnson Control is requesting for this update into the system so that they can properly serve us. This also improves our security and safety for our staff and the community overall. In front of you this evening, you find the request for update from Johnson Controls. The price for the update was $1,982.38. As you see in the estimate, that would actually be reduced to $1949.74 once the state ID for taxes are permitted into their documents. There's also an additional item that is $109.11 annually per year for the monitoring system. Johnson Control is integrated throughout part of our building and actually operates most of the security and our HVAC systems, as you all know. That I'll bring it back for any questions or comments.
I'll make a motion to approve the additional security equipment proposal through Johnson Controls at the cost of $1,982.38 plus $109.11 annually.
Trustee Sutherland.
What?
I'd just like to correct that, it's 1949.
I thought you said that you.
Yes, there was a correction because
Oh, you
of
had
the
the taxes, so, at the cost of $1,949.74, plus $109.11 annually.
I have a motion by Treasurer Sutherland, supported by Trustee Rosio. May the Deputy Clerk please call the roll.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Rossio?
Aye.
Gurley? Aye. Marino?
Yes.
Reader?
Aye. All right, moving down. Item F, Township Insurance Renewal Proposal. Mr. Rainbow.
All right, good evening, Board. There's been a number of people, a lot of discussions, a lot of comments. Let me bring this in front of you. First of all, there was a comment about 90 days. 90 days is when the insurance company starts to pull all the information that we have within Town Hall. Anything we bought in the last year, any updates, any deletions, any removals. Those are items that we're required to collect from our department heads, which they can verify. Mr. Trombley can verify, Mr. White can verify. These are items that we send over requesting any updates, deletions, or corrections. At that point in time, once those items are collected, we then send it back to the agent of record. The agent of record puts it together, processes this through, and submits it to several different insurance companies that are capable of doing these types of items. Just to be clear, the agent of record currently handles over 19 communities within Macomb County, and an additional 15 to 18, I believe, in Oakland County, and a few in Wayne County. This is a large agency that we have entrusted our agent of record. Last year alone, they were able to help us sustain a $40,000 recapture after we had a failure within the transformer out front that burned out two of our pumps, our controllers at the front doors, part of our concession stands. Many people talked about that issue. I will tell you, our agent of record from Nicollet Sapp did a great job working with the Department of Public Works, Mr. Trombley and myself, and without his due diligence, we probably would have not recaptured those items that we needed to. The agency record of insurance carrier did not want to replace those pumps or pay for them. With that, I'm going to bring it back in front of the board. I've had an opportunity to speak to a couple of the members looking at the historical information. This evening in front of you, you have several documents. I am going to ask for some recommendations from the board as far as the liability increases for deductibles, which can save additional funding, and also consider the terrorism insurance. Interesting enough, we heard someone comment this evening about the terrorism insurance or terrorism attacks through cyber systems. I will tell you that we have seen this happen in the past, and it can virtually shut down any operation within minutes, and they wind up removing the entire data systems that you have. So with that, I'll bring it back to the board for any questions, comments, or entertain the opportunities for rhetorical.
Our total cost with the terrorism coverage included, what is that?
The total cost with the terrorism, and excuse me, I take just a second here. The annual renewal premium is $155.49. That includes the terrorism coverage. The premium can be reduced by $2,092 if the township decides to refuse the terrorism insurance. For a $2,000 change, I don't think that's a very wise choice. And after speaking to a couple of the members of the board, going through the policy, reviewing it with Nicollet Sapp, this would not be probably the most advisable item. but we can save money by having a higher deductible in the funding side of that.
If there's no further discussion from the board, the motion will be ordered.
What did you say that actual annual premium is?
Mr. Marino, the total would be $155,489. That includes the terrorism coverage. There has been an increase of 6.67% from last year. Last year was $145,779. So the premium has increased by $9,710.
I would also like to point out that the insurance values have also increased since last year, 3%.
Yes, we spent a large amount of time diving into this, especially the cyber and the data side. We did learn last year, as you all know, we went through a lot with the pump systems, and we actually have some of those items scheduled into our systems for repairs and continued replacements as we work with the DPW side to increase our HVAC system's reliance.
There's a couple other numbers that I think are important. All property and inland marine coverages are written on replacement cost basis, including the rental house, which is the stone house, south of the township. Also, limited data, compromise, and cyber are afforded with aggregate limits of $250,000 if evidence of multi-factor can be demonstrated. We can obtain quotes for a wider range of carriers offering wider coverages. I feel $250,000 is the aggregate for the cyber coverage. That's the only thing that
Just as a point of operational information, in order to work with the Triton systems, keep in mind that I want to say the end of the year, beginning of next year, our new fire truck will be in. That's going to change our premium rates, of course, also, because those things they have doubled in cost now.
If there's no further discussion, a motion will be ordered.
I would like to make the motion. I would like to make a motion that we reward the insurance premium to Nickel and Spa in the amount of $155,489, including terrorism coverage, $250,000 under terrorism coverage.
I'll second.
Before you finish that motion, Mr. Rossio, just to verify, we'd like to maximum the $200 or $2,500 deductibles. On the third page, you
Yes,
talk about the deductibles. Would you like to maximize that to $2,500?
Yes, I would like to add that to the motion
Thank you.
for $2,500 deductible.
All right, I have a motion by trustee Rosio, supported by trustee Marino. May the deputy clerk please call the roll.
Rossio,
Aye.
Marino,
Yes.
Reader,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Gurley.
Aye.
All right, moving down, item G, Hopeful Trail charitable gaming request. The petitioner here today.
Good evening, Board. My name is Nicholas Bowers, I'm the president of Hopeful Trails. We are requesting that the Township Board adopts the local governing body resolution required by the state of Michigan charitable gaming division so that Hopeful Trails may obtain charitable gaming licenses for fundraising activities. Hopeful Trails is a Michigan nonprofit organization established to provide Christ-centered camps for children and families in the foster and adopted communities. Our mission is to create a safe environment where people can experience healing, hope, belonging, encouragement, mentorship, recreation, and the gospel while gaining positive life experiences. Funds raised through charitable gaming activities will be used to support camp programming, transportation, supplies, volunteer training, and activities that directly benefit children and families in the foster and adopted communities. We respectfully request the board's approval of this resolution and appreciate your consideration.
What kind of fundraising activities were you planning on having?
Bowling activities, raffle baskets will be included 50-50. We have plans to do archery shoots and stuff along those lines.
So off-site, not right at the place, correct?
Correct.
How often would these events take place? Do you
We're planning quarterly.
quarterly?
Yep.
Any idea where they would be held at?
We'd like to utilize local businesses to help promote local businesses as long as they're partnered with us.
The address on the form, there would be no activities taking place there for these events?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes, the address on the form on 29 Mile Road, there would be no activities?
No activities being placed there.
Thank you.
This is a required resolution. So Carol, our number would be 2026-7, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
It was 2026-7.
Yep.
Are you going to include that in the motion? Anthony, does that need to be included in the motion?
Yeah, I would include that just receipts.
I'm going to make the motion to approve the license request for gaming resolution 2026-7 to Hopeful Trails charitable gaming license request as explained by President Nicholas Powers.
I'll support the motion. I have a motion by Clerk Gurley, supported by the chair. May the deputy clerk please call the roll.
Gurley,
Aye.
Reader,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Marino,
Yes.
Rossio.
Aye.
All right. Perfect.
Where do I pick that form up?
We'll, Michelle, we'll fill out the form and then email. Do you need the original copy?
No, just an email copy would be good.
So the email you provided, is that good for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, Karen? We'll email it to her. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Moving on. Public council.
28341 27 Mile Road. I'm not coming with these. I don't know what you guys did with waste management. We get one can that's smaller than the old cans. If we want an extra can, we have a dump that's how many thousands of acres. And we get one garbage can a week. What do? You put $1 million road in, and we get one garbage can? That's all I have to say.
Ariana Welsh. I'm here holding a copy of Resolution 2026-6, which this board passed on July 8th to adopt and reaffirm a 6-month transition budget. I have emailed the specific statutory violations to the board and gave them directly to Trustee Marino at the July 8th meeting. When I explicitly brought these budget violations to this board on June 30th and July 1st, Supervisor Reeder emailed me back on July 1st stating, quote, "The township maintains its expenditures are legal and will continue operations following board action and council." Since this administration clearly believes that an email from a supervisor or an opinion from a hired attorney can override state law, I'm going to read the exact excerpts from the Michigan compiled law out loud so everyone can hear them tonight. The law does not take a vacation because you label a budget as transitional or claim council approved it. I am reading directly from Michigan Compiled Law 42.26 of the Charter Township Act. Quote, "A public hearing on the budget shall be held before its final adoption at such time and place as the Township Board shall direct, and notice of such public hearing shall be published at least 1 week in advance by the Township Clerk. A copy of the proposed budget shall be on file and available to the public for inspection during the office hours at the office of the Township Clerk for a period of not less than 1 week prior to such public hearing." This board quietly dropped a special meeting notice on Friday, June 26th, and forced a budget vote at 4:30 p.m. on Monday, June 29th. You did not publish a notice in the newspaper a week in advance, and you did not make the budget available for public inspection for the week. Secondly, you completely failed to put out your required notices for tax revenue collection, which is a direct violation of MCL 141.412 of the Budget Hearings of Local Government Acts, which states, quote, "A local unit shall hold a public hearing on its proposed budget by publication in a newspaper of general circulation within the local unit. The notice shall include the time and place of the hearing and shall state the place where a copy of the budget is available for public inspection. No matter what your board action or council claims, you cannot pass a proper paper resolution to validate an illegal procedure or rewrite state law. As I put this board on notice during the July 8th meeting, I have officially filed formal complaints regarding these actions with the Michigan Attorney General's Office and the Michigan Department of Treasury. Operating a municipality through procedural evasion, unvoted financial frameworks, and the intentional freezing out of the public crosses the line from mere administrative incompetence to potential malfeasance and dereliction of duty. State authorities are now tracking these procedures. I will be back at the podium every single board meeting reading these exact statutory violations out loud until this administration figures out how to follow the law and respect the taxpayers. Thank you.
Michelle Kuzwicki, Lenox Township. What's with the HVAC system? Every time we come to a meeting, it's warm, it's cold, it's flippin' freezing. You apparently need to have somebody look at that too.
We don't know what HVAC means.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
HVAC, very technical.
Let's see here. The attorney you hired to help the planning commission wasn't able to answer any questions that the planning commission was asking him. He was there for zoning only. They were asking him questions and he couldn't answer them. What the heck are you doing, you guys? Budget, the 6-month budget, you spend almost $300,000, $288,000 every 6 months for the clerk and the treasurer and their crew. And then you spend another $28,000 every 6 months for a bookkeeper to come in and go over what they're doing. What's up with that? You don't, somebody doesn't know what they're doing, you need to hire people in that know how to do bookkeeping. What's with the lights? What's with all of the adjustments here, you guys? It's kind of really makes you wonder. Trying to push this out the door. Mr. Brazil, you have a conflict of interest. You should not vote on anything in regards to the I-94 Development District, period. Let's see here. Environmental specialists, who you need to check into. Kristen Megan Kelly is a scientist. Tammy K. Clark is an industrial hygienist. They talk a lot about data centers and the potential of environmental hazards of putting a data center in. I don't think you guys have a clue what the potential hazards and ramifications are for this township. We've already got all kinds of hazmat, crazy stuff going on here with the landfill that's going Mount Lenox. You've got the landfill that was closed down by the DEQ. You've got the foundry that was closed down in New Haven. And then you've got the prison on top of it. Don't we have enough environmental hazards to live with already? And you want to put a data center in, which is going to add more environmental hazards, which is less than 5 miles from Lake St. Clair, which will affect our Great Lakes. It's our water.
Chair, before you speak, I would say on the question of the thermostat, it would help if you don't stand right on top of it, right there on the ball.
More chairs.
768.
Where did Grabo and Addis just go? I want Mark Grabo and Addis brought back into this meeting right now, because this is an open meeting, and if they're out there discussing something that's going on in this meeting, it's against the rules. So here, empty chair on Addis, empty chair on Grabo. Why do we have to be here, but they don't? Now, I'm going to go on to my next comment. Raise your hand on the board if you've ever eaten in Jillian's. I have been your waitress. You have all tipped me. You know what that means? I've served you more than you've served me. And I'm not a public servant. So I would like to know if any of you would like to trade me jobs next week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you will be taking care of a woman who is blind and has diabetes and cancer. She needs her colostomy bag done, and she needs her shower every day. Then on Monday and Friday, you will be at Jillian's for doubles. And on Sunday, you will be down there cleaning up from the last party. I didn't see any of you at Red Hot and Blue, not one. I gave out free water, free hugs, and glow sticks. I am challenging all of you, look up from your things right now, to show up at any live, positive thing for this township and city, because you're afraid we're going to cannibalize you. You guys should be giving out the glow sticks. You guys should be handing out the water. I planted the flowers at the post office. Doesn't our township have enough money for that?
Lauren Hardon, Village of New Haven. I don't know if I'm allowed to call a response, but I do want to know if at the call to the table, and adding the zoning ordinance for battery energy storage systems and what, how I can get this information to you guys. Okay, so no call and response then. I am just asking the board to add it, a call, when we do call to the table. I don't know if that's allowed or just to add it to the next meeting minutes and then consider and vote on whether you'd like to add a battery energy storage system. Can I give this to any of you? I don't. Okay, thank you.
Matthew Kubik, New Haven. So there's already been a lot said about this data center, so I don't need to go into detail about why it's going to be terrible for this community, but something that I do think needs to be discussed more is the fact that people are getting paid to come here and praise this data center as if it's going to do anything for this community except poison our water and our people. And I think the fact that that's happening is really sad to see in this modern age. I spent a lot, we had the 4th of July a couple weeks ago, and I spent a lot of time thinking about what, our forefathers 250 years ago were fighting for, and that's not it. They were not fighting for corporations to come into our communities and use us like trash, to put their prisons here, to put their dumps here, and act like we're nothing. That's not what they were fighting for. And also, again, I respect the unions, but I will say it is really ironic to see a lot of those guys there doing this. When you look back, Blair Mountain, they had a lot of guys fighting against stuff like this, fighting against the corporations coming in and destroying our towns. That is not what anybody in our past fought for, and I do not appreciate that happening. And I do not appreciate anyone here just engaging with it. So last time I called for people to resign, and if not, then you need to be voted out. Thank you.
Thank you, members of the board. I stand before you a second time tonight to give Supervisor Anthony Reeder and Deputy Supervisor Mark Grabow one more opportunity to do the right thing and resign. Don't worry, I think we got some scotch tape to tape it back together for you, sir. And we've uncrumpled Mr. Grabow's already. As I sat here tonight listening to the meeting, I have come to realize exactly why you're fighting the recall effort so hard. My belief is that you're doing it because you have finally heard the voices of the residents. You know deep down that what you are doing is completely against what the people of this township want. You're terrified of the recall process because you already know the outcome. You know that if the residents get the chance to put pen to paper and collect those signatures, you will soundly be booted out of office. Fighting this petition is your only line of defense because you can't face the voters. Since it's clear that two of you lack the integrity to step down on your own, I am turning to the rest of this board to take action first. I'm asking you, the remaining board members tonight, to take an official vote of no confidence in Supervisor Anthony Reeder and Deputy Supervisor Mark Grabow. Show this community that you do not trust them because the residents clearly do not trust them. Second, if Mark Grabow refuses to sign his resignation letter that I provided, this board has the power to act today to take a vote to amend the budget and completely remove all funding for the deputy supervisor position and cut that salary from the budget and get rid of at least one of the major problems facing this township. Resignation letters here and are available for you to sign, and also to defund Mr. Grabow's position and show the voters where we stand. Thank you.
Brian Meissen, New Haven. Just wanted to come up here today. One of the previous paid actors made a comment that we were a room full of a bunch of losers. I'd like to say I'm pretty proud of everybody that's still here fighting for this community instead of all the paid actors that apparently only wanted half of the $125 because they left halfway through the meeting. That said, I do want to make it clear, I'm not accusing any of you for having any involvement with these paid actors. To me, this is Michigan Deserves Better. This is some sort of outside entity. I'm not faulting any of you. I want to make that clear because I have people putting words in my mouth saying that I'm accusing you guys of stuff that I'm not accusing you of. So I want to make that clear. Thank you.
Hello, Lennox. I'm Jessica, Lennox Township resident, still not paid to be here. Brian just said everything too. I was just noticing that the people that were pro-data center people all mysteriously kind of left around the same time. Not trying to be conspiracy theorists, but just kind of noticed that. Also, like I said, I respect union workers, but I know I love history. So for instance, I remember seeing like a picture of them like waiting in a room one time, and like their family members brought them food and stuff, and they stayed there for days just to get a contract. And it makes me so sad that like these outside people that do not live here, you know, are kind of heckling us and calling us losers, and it's just very demeaning. It's sad. So it's not, I'm not saying specific people, but there was a couple hecklers out there, so, but please do the right thing. Thank you.
Kelly Reamer, New Haven. I just want to address the 26 Mile Pump where the crews are parking. I noticed when I was trying to leave Decor Park today, 3 cars almost got hit. You can't see anything going east. They are parking where we normally get off to the right to turn into our sub. If they could park either on the other side of the road, the south side of 26, or even in Decor Park and walk over, it's really scary. Also, 11 o'clock in the morning, Judge Harrison's courtroom on floor 5 of the Macomb County Courthouse in Mount Clemens. Recall hearing number 4. See you all there.
Scott Dodge, Lenox. So I got a question for both Mr. Rosile and Mr. Marino. Are you guys aware of the June 10th expenditure here to your deputy supervisor of $775 for limo rental? Were you guys aware of that? It's kind of a conflict of interest because pretty sure you could have got that a lot cheaper than $775, but I'm sure you two knew nothing about it. The other 3 probably did, but I'm sure you guys didn't, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention. But anyway, Mark, resign, do us all a favor. All right? Keep at it, don't keep it.
Hi, Sierra, Lenox resident. Just wanted to kind of call out. I don't know, I expect no answer. You made it very clear, Supervisor Reader, that you may remove such items from the consent agenda for discussion and consideration. That itself, that you emphasize that word and blatantly disregarded my request to remove the items, which many other community members here were supportive, is just so disrespectful. Why? We need to know. We need a safety report. There needs to be discussion. You're blatantly trying to keep us in the dark and avoid having conversations. The man here for the donations, for a Christian donation event approval, there were so many questions asked, it honestly shocked me because there's never conversation being had. So where's the discussion about our safety and parking and access to public meetings? Where's the planner's report being opened up? Where's the planner at? Actually, where's the engineering report being opened up? Where's the transparency? Where are the board members that are committed to transparency? I would never even act like I could do this job better, but honestly, I feel like I could with all the hours that I have in here. It's ridiculous. What did you guys sign on to do? And whose lead are you following? How much more can people make all of these matters clear on? And no one is a voice for the people, it seems like. But you're asking questions to a man-fair charitable organization and not digging in about ordinances, not even discussing the fact that you guys approved, which, cool, good step for an independent specialist, but there's no discussion, there's no transparency, there's no including the public in any of your guys' dialogue. I really hope that this changes. I really hope to receive email replies about safety concerns from you guys, not just Jeff White. Thank goodness he replied so I could let the public know what's going on and that there's accommodations made. Let's hope for positive changes from everyone here. Thanks.
Jay Hampton, Lenox Township. Just a couple more comments in regards to the technical aspects of this ordinance that would be used for like a data center or any construction over there. And like I said, I have about 4 pages of write-up when it's connected to it. But throughout the document, when you look at it, it uses some terminology page 10, section 3C, performance standards, energy, sustainability. And it said the applicant shall provide an operations report detailing anticipated. Anticipated means take a guess. You don't put that in a strict ordinance. And anticipated is throughout this whole document. The other thing is page 10, section 4A, it said applicant shall submit documentation demonstrating good faith. What's good faith? How do we measure that? What's a legal term? Good faith is used throughout this document. That means it has no legal meaning, no engineering meaning. And it's used quite often. Page 16, it says decommissioning, section 1B. Says decommission must begin within 64 months of abandonment and must be completed within 12 months. It also states that it has to be completed in 64 months within that time frame, which is 5.53 years that you can have a building sitting there that is no longer occupied or used. And then page 16, section 3B and C, says below ground infrastructure such as foundation and utilities shall be removed to a minimum depth of 36 inches. It means they just scrape the surface and everything buried below is left. That means that property, as it states in here and other locations, that it has to be returned to original condition. You're going to have a whole other city buried under there, which you will when you have buildings of this size. So the last thing I have, what do you do? Because it says that you have to have funds and escrow multiple times here. One of them is for decommissioning. How do you deal if this company goes bankrupt? I'm not a lawyer, but I've dug into it. That money isn't always safe. So if a bankruptcy happens and these companies do go bankrupt, they can walk away and leave us with the bill. So you can have a structure there. Don't think it doesn't happen. It's happened quite a bit. This is kind of, if you look at it, it's kind of a shady operation the way data centers are being built and regulated in this country. And these big corporations just will walk away. And I've mentioned this in other meetings. Dow Chemical Midland. How many car plants do we have here? People mention the old foundry. We could have a building abandoned there. They filed for bankruptcy and all these escrows because there's no protection. And who's keeping the escrows? So that's all I have to say. But when you start, and that's just minor, but when you dig into this, it again offers no protection for this township. A lawyer would love it, an engineer would love it more because it holds me to no accountability. And that's my background.
Sorry, I got distracted for this. Didn't really plan anything for this moment, but again, I know you guys are presumably doing the best you can, and you have the best of intention for this community. But in all seriousness, I would like to sit down with you guys, either individually and or together, with professional services, attorneys, the planner, and things of that nature, and actually go over things, preferably in a public setting with all the rest of the community, able to observe and communicate and chime in, but we just don't have the transparency that we're looking for. And I think something can be done about that. I'm going to reach out to you guys, and I really hope that you look forward to that correspondence and can strongly consider it. I prefer that you guys host the event. If not, the nonprofit can host it ourselves. But I think there's a real opportunity to increase the transparency, offer understanding to people, to the residents, why we can or why we can't, or why it wouldn't be a good idea to do this or do that. We need more communication. We need more transparency. We're not necessarily against you guys. We're not idiots too, so you can explain stuff to us. If your hands are tied, your hands are tied. We get it. We understand. There's a lot of legal things at work and behind the scenes and threats of litigation. We get that. We get that. We do. So we want to support you. We want to have offer understanding. There'd be a lot less inappropriate commentary if you just had that conversation with us. And I say us, I mean the whole community. So please embrace that opportunity when it comes. So I look forward to having more conversations with you guys. Thanks.
Just want to be brief. Basically concur with everything he said. I don't want to be your guys' enemy, but we don't have any power, we don't have any transparency, we don't have nothing, and I know that necessarily isn't your guys' fault, but if we don't have any power in this, then we need to make our own power. And unfortunately, that's gonna be through the power of the people, and that's gonna suck. I don't wanna do it, but like I said, the only thing for evils to succeed is for good men to do nothing. So we want to help. We don't want to fight. So thank you.
All right, moving on, call from the board.
Lauren? Lauren, is this the only thing you wanted to send? Or
Yes,
is-
that's an ordinance on battery energy storage systems, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, if there's nothing else from the board, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 10, oh, sorry, is it 9?
9:56.
I can't read it.
9:56.
9:56.
I have a motion by Treasurer Sutherland, supported by Trustee Rosio. All in favor? Aye. Hearing none,